Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 16th of January. India's PM Modi holds roadshow in Delhi before joining key BJP meeting. Eyewitnesses recount narrow escape near Nepal plane crash site. And shameful for nuclear power to beg, says Pakistan PM amid worsening crisis. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a mega roadshow on Monday in capital New Delhi before joining a key meeting of his ruling Bharatiya Janata Party with focus on the 2024 general election. It is the first major meeting of the party after the landslide victory in Gujarat last December.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday held a mega roadshow in capital New Delhi before he joined a key national executive meeting of his ruling Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) to discuss over the strategy for 9 state elections to be held in 2023 and general election scheduled for 2024. This is the first meeting of the party's executive body after the Saffron Party secured a landslide victory in Gujarat Assembly elections last December. With roads covered with decorations, posters and cutouts of PM Modi, large crowd of supporters and party workers also gathered along the roads to catch a glimpse of their leader. PM Modi received a grand welcome by BJP workers at the NDMC Convention Centre, the venue of the two-day executive board meeting. Union ministers and chief ministers of BJP-ruled states also joined the first day of the meeting on Monday. Despite the opposition claims of anti-incumbency, Narendra Modi remains popular among the masses. Out of the 9 state assemblies which will undergo election this year, 6 states are ruled either by BJP or its allies. The elections are expected to act as a litmus test for 2024 general elections, thus will be crucial for the Saffron Party.
And in news from Nepal, eyewitnesses of the Sunday's deadly plane crash in Nepal, which killed more than 68 people, recounted the horrors of the incident, describing that it seemed like a huge ball of fire as the aircraft fell down. Nepal observed a day of national mourning on Monday and has set up a panel to investigate the disaster and suggest measures to avoid such incidents in future.
Eyewitnesses of the Sunday's plane crash in Nepal's Pokhara, the deadliest in 30 years in the Himalayan nation in which at least 70 people were killed, recounted the horrors of the incident. There was a huge ball of fire as the plane fell down and burst into flames, a resident who lives near the crash site said. Searchers on Monday found both the cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder from the remains of the Yeti Airlines ATR-72 aircraft that was carrying 72 people. 2 people were still unaccounted for till Monday evening, with rescue operations to resume on Tuesday.
हामीले यस्तो हेर्यौं हैन हेर्दाखेरि त यत्रो ठुलो आगो थियो कि ती ठुलो आगो अनि हामी त भाग्यौं बाहिर भाग्यौं बच्चा थियो मेरो है अनि मेरो परिवार हाम्रै घरमाथि प्लेन खस्नेवाला थियो कि हिजो कि त्यस्तो लाग्यो कि मलाई त कि यही माथि खस्यो यही खस्यो जस्तो लाग्यो कि मलाई कि तर हामी बचेको भगवानले बचायो कि हामीलाई हिजो
तल हामीले हेर्दा तल उता पछाडी गएर पारी गएर ठोक्थ्यो अनि उता ठोकेर त्यसको आधा भाग फुटेर अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ यता आएर पड्क्यो त्यही हो मैले चाहिँ अब बच्चा समातेर दगुर्दा त्यो पछाडीको रोडबाट भागेको त्यहाँ भाग्दा अलिकति तातो रापले हामीलाई नि भेटेछ अनि मेरो बुढालाई नि अलिअलि अब खुट्टामा लोटेर चोट लाग्छ बच्चाहरूलाई लिएर जाँदा भाग्दाखेरि चाहिँ
Minutes before the aircraft was to land on Sunday, the pilot asked for a change of runway. A spokesperson for Pokhara Airport said, adding that the permission was granted. The passengers included 57 Nepalese, 5 Indians, 4 Russians, 2 South Koreans and 1 person each from Argentina, Ireland, Australia and France. Nearly 350 people have died since the year 2000 in plane or helicopter crashes in Nepal, home to 8 of the world's 14 highest mountains, including Everest, where sudden weather changes can make for hazardous conditions.
In news from Pakistan, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said it is a matter of shame that his country, which is a nuclear power, has a begging bowl in its hand to ask for funds to recover its economy. He said this is not the right solution for the country's economic problems, as these loans would have to be returned. The remarks came after the UAE last week rolled over a loan of $2 billion for Pakistan. It also got over $9 billion through a UN donor summit.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said it is a matter of shame that a nuclear power like Pakistan has to beg for funds amid its faltering economy. Shehbaz, who was addressing the passing out ceremony of Pakistan Administrative Service probationers this past weekend, said that he feels embarrassed to ask for further loans from foreign countries. He said that asking for loans is not the right solution to address Pakistan's economic issues, as they would have to be returned. Shehbaz also criticized his predecessors and said throughout the 75 years of Pakistan's existence, the administration, whether civilian or military, failed to solve the problems plaguing the nation.
जब मैं उनके साथ अलहदा वन-on-वन मीटिंग के लिए मैं गया उनके पास, तो मैंने कहा कि मैंने वहाँ पर भी सबके सामने कोई थोड़ी सी बात की. वहाँ पर मैंने तफसील से बात की कि मुझे बड़ी मुझे आई फील वेरी एम्बैरेस्ड कि मैं आपसे हर दफ़ा आता हूँ, कोई और आता है तो आप कहते तो नहीं, लेकिन दिल के अंदर तो आप समझते होंगे ये पैसे मांगने आ गए हैं. तो मैंने कहा कि ये पाकिस्तान एक मिसाल इसकी ये है कि एक हाथ में हमारे एक न्यूक्लियर ताकत है और दूसरे हाथ में कशकोल. ये आग और पानी का ये कब तक मेलाप हो नहीं सकता, कब तक चलेगा?
Pakistan's economic situation is precarious with large fiscal and current account deficits. The South Asian nation suffered colossal flood last September, which killed 1,700 and displaced 8 million people, adding to problems plaguing the nation. As of January 6, Pakistan's foreign exchange reserves held by the central bank stood at $4.3 billion, leaving the cash-strapped country with barely 3 weeks worth of import cover. The drop was due to external debt repayments, the state bank said.
Moving on, protests erupted in Gilgit Baltistan recently over land grabbing and demolition of houses by the local police, which locals claimed is in support of land mafias. They fear the unregulated influx and settlement will soon turn the minority in their own land.
Grabbing of publicly owned land under the pretext of the colonial-era law Khalsa Sarkar triggered protests recently by locals in Minawar area of illegally occupied region of Gilgit Baltistan. Residents complained the local police in wee hours of the day demolished houses and other constructions over the directions by the Assistant Commissioner of Police. If they wanted to initiate any action, they should have given a notice under Land Revenue Act. But no prior information was received, a protester said. Protesters also accused Chief Minister Khalid Khurshid Khan of aiding land mafias in the region.
कि चीफ मिनिस्टर भी इसमें मुलविस है. चीफ मिनिस्टर को लैंड माफिया की पुष्पनाई हासिल है. चीफ मिनिस्टर को वहाँ मिनावर में कुछ ज़मीन भी मिली है, जिसकी वजह से चीफ मिनिस्टर ने ये रात को ये कार्रवाई डाली है. और इसके पीछे चीफ मिनिस्टर का अहम रोल है. वक्त आने पर हम वो सबूत भी सामने लाएंगे कि चीफ मिनिस्टर गिलगित बल्तिस्तान के अंदर लैंड माफिया को सपोर्ट कर रहा है, और इंशाल्लाह वक्त आएगा हम चीफ मिनिस्टर से भी इसका हिसाब लेंगे.
Pakistan has been using the centuries-old Khalsa Sarkar laws for land grabbing purposes in Gilgit Baltistan. The law, which has been found violating international human rights, allows the government to claim ownership of barren land even if it is collectively owned by local community. Locals in the illegally occupied region claim Pakistan repeatedly turns a blind eye to their problems. They fear they will soon become a minority in their own land due to unregulated influx of outsiders aided by Islamabad and land mafias.
In news from Afghanistan, a former Afghan female legislator, Mursal Nabizada, and one of her bodyguards were shot dead at her home by unknown assailants in the capital city of Kabul on Sunday. Nabizada was one of the few female parliamentarians who were living in Kabul after the Taliban seized control in August 2021.
A former female lawmaker of Afghanistan, Mursal Nabizada, was shot dead along with her bodyguard by unknown assailants at her residence in the capital city of Kabul, police said on Sunday. Nabizada was one of the few female parliamentarians who were living in Kabul after the Taliban seized power in August 2021. The Taliban have said they are focused on securing the country and encouraging Afghans to return, but several attacks have taken place in recent months, including one at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs last week that killed and wounded dozens of people and was claimed by Islamic State militant group. Meanwhile, almost a month after women's education was banned by the Islamic Emirate, Taliban spokesman Zabiullah Mujahid said over past weekend that overturning restrictions against women is not a priority for the group. He said the Taliban would not permit any acts that violate Islamic law and the concerns regarding women's rights will be dealt with according to the established rule. The latest action by the Taliban to ban women from working in NGOs generated protests by female university students and women activists across the country and has been condemned globally.
Moving on, Hindus across Sri Lanka and India on Sunday marked the harvest festivals of Pongal and Makar Sankranti, gathering at temples for religious rituals and by taking holy dip in sacred rivers. The lunar event marks the transition of the sun from Sagittarius to Capricorn during the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere.
Hindus across Sri Lanka on Sunday marked the harvest festival of Pongal, gathering at temples for religious rituals. Celebrated by the Tamil community in both Sri Lanka and India, Pongal is a celebration to thank the sun, nature and farm animals. Also known as Makar Sankranti, the festival marks the transition of the sun from Sagittarius to Capricorn during the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. People at a temple in Sri Lanka's Colombo city said they hope that sun's transition would bring them better fortune as the island nation faces an ongoing economic crisis. Meanwhile, thousands of Hindu devotees in India braved the chilly weather in northern Haridwar, Ayodhya and eastern Patna cities as they took a holy dip in sacred rivers, performed rituals and offered food to the destitute to mark Makar Sankranti. It is believed that a holy dip on this festival washes away all sins.
मकर संक्रांति के अवसर पे माँ गंगा ने बुलाया तो बस स्नान करने चला आया। कैसा लगा स्नान करके? बहुत स्नान करने से ही लगता है कि मन में पावन भावना आ जाती है।
While the traditional Hindu calendar is a lunar calendar, Makar Sankranti is a solar event. It marks the beginning of longer days of sunlight, a period when winter starts to give way to summer. On this day, devotees do Tuladan, a tradition where they make offerings of cereal to the priests and poor people.
And as many as 120 motorists took to the roads of New Delhi on Sunday with a variety of classic cars as part of a vintage car rally. They were cheered on by hundreds of spectators who saw the event happening after almost 2 years.
At least 120 motorists driving a variety of classical cars took to the roads of India's capital city New Delhi on Sunday as part of an annual vintage rally, cheered on by hundreds of spectators who saw the event happening after almost 2 years. Motor enthusiasts from across the country gathered at the Indian capital's iconic Statesman House building for the 56th vintage car rally, which culminated at the Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium.
रैली है, एक बहुत ही अच्छा मौसम है and it's part of Delhi. In one sense, it's an event which happens and which has been going on for decades. It's a nice place, nice today weather, and we see people with a lot of love and care for the kind of vehicles they do, they maintain. It's the passion which they have, and it's a pleasure to be here and be part of it.
One of the most interesting additions to the rally was the 1914 John Morris fire engine, which was brought by Nizam of Hyderabad and was later given away to Indian Railways. Cadillac, Rolls-Royce, Bentley and Statesman were among some of the other vehicles that were brought by auto lovers for the event.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.